So I get a call from my friend Tanya at Sony Cine, and she tells me to pack the FX6 and the Cinelifter because I'm flying it out in Colorado. There, I'll be learning about expedition filmmaking from who National Geographic called the Adventure of the Year. You may know him as the filmmaker who documents the untouched corners of this planet, or maybe as the climber who keeps up with world-class athletes with a camera in tow. Now, a storm was headed our way, and that's when Renan gave me the first tip.
The best shots normally are always in the worst weather.
A huge thanks to Sony Cine for sponsoring this episode and making all of this happen, and Renan for the climbing crash course and giving us a taste of adventure filmmaking.
Oh. That's how it normally starts. First battle test of many. Pro tip for mountain filming is like bright colors popping against the landscape.
I have 4 layers on right now.
I feel like Kenny from South Park.
You're gonna start sweating a little bit out of fear.
How do you pee when you're on the mountain?
Yeah, you can just let it fly. Like,
I don't want to be on the bottom then.
I've been like peed on from above many times.
I would like to skip that part of the expedition class.
We've got these self-recording lav mics. This is pretty crucial.
Oh, so this isn't tentacle sync.
This syncs with tentacle sync. Key things for miking climbers is you do one anchor point and then you do another one because you know you're going to be moving around. It's bound to like get pulled.
I imagine you're having to clean your lens up there pretty regularly.
Yeah, if you have a lens cloth or sometimes use Kim wipes. When you're in the heat of battle, like anything works. Like side of your face, your tongue.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Huh? Always be strapped in, huh?
Yep, strap everything. You can also tuck and keep it out of the elements.
I like that actually.
And I like how you're just slinging this thing around.
This is the Burano. We're calling it a power nugget.
The power nugget.
There's a lot of power in this little package with 16-bit color. We have time code, we have real audio. We've got a V-mount inside the backpack. If I was shooting Alex Honnold free soloing on the side of a cliff, which we do quite often, this is the setup I would use. I throw it off to the side where I'm climbing. Everything's free.
Is this a bad time to tell you that I'm like scared of heights?
You've been climbing before, but
Just bouldering. The highest is probably like maybe 12 feet.
Are we going higher than 12 feet today?
Maybe just a little bit.
Oh, okay. So like 16 feet?
16, 100, 300.
Is it too late to go home?
You having fun, Sam? Okay. What? You having fun there, Sam? Okay. Don't worry. The worst that can happen is you just a little fall. These are screams of joy. So generally all the climbers just have the mic lobbed on and they just have it on through the whole time.
Yeah, just let it run.
Yeah, and then sync it in post.
Sync it in post. Like, you never know what audio you're gonna miss if you don't have the internal mic running.
Right.
So we always run lavs that have internal recording mics.
Definitely.
As well as time code.
You guys call this a bridge? The adrenaline's kicking now.
We're having a little mind riot, dealing with the fear, the exposure. Even the sound of the river is really unnerving. If you have talent that's freaked out, like, you need to stay calm and not contribute to that.
Don't look down, don't look down.
We were like one of the first people to shoot the Burano, and now it's really cool to see the whole adventure community really pick it up, especially now that all studio specs are more than 10-bit for Disney, for Netflix, HBO, whatever it is. Like, you need that.
Like you said, the worse the weather, the better the shot, right?
Internally, you're saying, I don't want to shoot, I'm worried about my camera. That's normally when you actually need to pull the camera out. And those are the shots that always make the edit. The Burano's taking a beating. I definitely scraped it a few times on the rock, yeah.
I mean, I guess that's just unavoidable, really.
Yeah.
You shooting in RAW over there?
8.6K RAW XOCN LT, full color depth. There's so much latitude to work with this camera. Yeah. And you see I've added the battery in the backpack.
Is that a weight thing on your hands, or is that to help keep the battery warm?
When we originally started doing that, it was for Everest, so that we could have the battery inside the giant puffy suit, keeping it warm. But then we realized for more technical high-angle filming, when you're dangling from ropes, this enables you to get into more complicated positions to move the camera.
Is there a name for this kind of climbing where you get to just hook in?
This is Via Ferrata. It's set up to make it more accessible to more people. Feel safe, and you're just clipping. You don't need a lot of equipment.
Where's the elevator?
Yeah, like a lot of the places I go to, you know, there's like millions of people that have been there before me and all. Are there still a lot of places that have not been explored yet?
The world is full of places that haven't been explored. You'd be surprised. You know, we've been doing a lot of sailing expeditions lately, and you realize how much is left. There's a lot.
I can let go and it's okay?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So if anyone knows the thing about trusting gear, it's you guys. My brain thinks I'm about to die. And then I have to convince myself, actually you're fine. But my brain's like, no, you shouldn't be here. We're all having fun, we're laughing. On some of your expeditions, is there still like a lightness to the trip at points, or are there days that go by where it's just rough and you're just in survival mode?
There's definitely some days in survival mode, but best explorers are the ones that can bring joy and optimism even into the hardest moments and can be laughing.
Even when you're not sure if you're gonna make it out alive.
Yeah, totally. You still have to laugh about it. You're like, oh, frostbite. Oh, it's so funny.
Hey Sam, how you doing?
Pretty good.
You had a pretty good day?
I just really like this truck. I'm just gonna hug it a little bit.
How long have you been shooting on the Burano?
I mean, hasn't been out very long, but the main thing we shot it on the first time, I got a call from Jared Leto. He said, I got permission to climb to the top of the Empire State Building. I want you to document this rare thing. And that was our first Burano experience. I had never seen the camera, and then we built it the night before, rappelling off the top of the Empire State Building.
For you to commit to a camera that you haven't really experienced before for a shoot like that, there must have been something about the Burano that you were like, oh, that has something that I need for this shoot. Was it the size? Was it the IBIS? Was it the built-in NDs?
Becoming our jack of all trades. Kodak was just a higher bit depth than a small camera. And since I'm just free hanging, there were 40-mile-an-hour gusts on the Empire State Buildings.
Oh man.
But having the IBIS built-in NDs, you're not gonna be fumbling filters. If you drop a filter from the top of the Empire State Building, you could easily kill someone below. It's a really stressful place. Just how easy it is to shoot a Sony lens with autofocus and barely even have to think about it. I see you doing it all day long. Confident it's gonna track your eye.
Oh yeah, like these two cameras right here on autofocus. Yeah. Totally.
Another thing I really love about this camera is how fast it powers up, especially when you're shooting documentary and you don't want to be missing moments. I think it's just cool how Sony's talking to each other. Technology they learned on the small cameras just makes sense to borrow the technology.
We got a chance to check out Sony headquarters in Tokyo, and exactly like you were saying, Sony Alpha and Sony Cine used to be in two different buildings.
Oh, really?
But then they recently both moved into one big building, so then they could all collaborate in one building, and this is the first to come out of that, essentially.
Oh, cool. I didn't even know that. I wasn't even trying to say something scripted.
Yeah, but it actually, you said exactly what happened.
So here we are, headquarters in Japan. Yamaha is right next to it. Nissan over there. Fujifilm is actually their neighbor.
George Lucas using for this one.
Wow. This shot Star Wars.
This is serial number 1.
Serial number 1. Oh, wow.
So after shooting done, he gave to us.
This should be in a museum. I'm gonna touch it. Frank, you want to touch it too? George Lucas touched this once, huh? Awesome. Okay, that's enough. No more touching. I once heard that we had to choose between IBIS or built-in ND filters because of the space.
Yes, used to be.
Now
is our super engineer make it happen.
Is this technically a Venice sensor, or are you not saying that?
We cannot say, but the same dynamic range and same pixel count. But it has a AF sensor. Venice don't have AF.
The same handle as the FX9?
Improved, so very easy to change.
Look at that lever. A lot of the smart people at work. Arigatou gozaimasu.
It's pretty exciting how much you're turning that wheel just feet from the edge of a cliff.
I'm glad I'm not wearing my white pants, I'll tell you that.
Four-wheeling up a dirt road covered in snow.
Yeah, I was like, oh snap, this guy likes to live on the edge.
I just looked out the window and all I could see was straight down.
I was just straight ahead, just nope, everything's gonna be fine.
I've only been in a couple life-threatening car accidents.
Oh, okay, only a couple.
I've almost died, yeah.
Well, that's reassuring.
We're pretty far out. If we would got stuck, it'd be quite an effort.
At what point do we get to call it an expedition?
When we get stuck overnight.
That's when it's an expedition?
That's when it turns into a real expedition. It's only adventure when the unexpected starts to happen.
I like how we were just driving back and you slammed on the brakes. Wait! Lens flare. But when you see it, you see it.
I think this is the best light of the day. So these are the Ascension devices. You're going to clip onto the rope.
I've seen these at REI. I've always wanted to use one.
Yeah. Boom. You can slide it up.
Oh, and it won't come down.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in Nat Geo in real life. entered an episode, but we need like a good story to go along with it, right? We're gonna go up and conserve like a bird's nest up there or something.
Shooting the key scene for Anna's documentary right now.
Is there a documentary in the works?
Yeah.
There is,
Oh,
yeah.
awesome, okay.
Yeah.
This isn't just fluff, you know? You're just gonna take your smaller Sony just to keep it, because your first time.
I'm not ready yet. This is still the wax on, wax off phase. So you guys climb for North Face?
We do.
That's awesome.
That's what we do for a living. Climb mountains and living the dream.
That sounds like the dream. Exposure keeps changing like crazy.
Yeah, we just like the sun and shade. That's why you need high dynamic range, constantly changing every minute.
I'm gonna have to come up with the same type of solution for FPV drones where I could climb with all my FPV gear.
Exactly.
Make a hat that's like a launch pad.
Yeah.
And launch it off the top of my head. Or
Step up, rest again.
okay, and then go up.
Yeah.
You cut up to me in a second. You're way higher up now. Let me go ahead and, oh shoot, heads up. ND filter come down.
Oh.
And that is a perfect example of why built-in ND filters are perfect for this, huh? I swear that wasn't planned.
That's why I put my helmet on, so it's all good, Gene. Don't worry. You can drop the camera on me. It's okay.
Recognize that you might be a Gumby, so she's like, I'm gonna put my helmet on for this one.
So if you were to do that off the Empire State Building, that could be a career ender. Definitely no magnetic filters like I use.
Everything has to be locked down, like airtight.
Yeah. I could already imagine, like, it's just like there's so much stuff that you're thinking about. I can totally understand why it's like, oh, bringing up a matte box with ND filters and all this extra stuff. It's like, you need to be pretty bare bones, huh?
Yeah, bare bones, strip it all down.
That's why you love this thing. It's got everything just built in.
And then the lock is really nice when you're jogging and you're hitting all the buttons.
What kind of filter you have up front there?
I just put a little Tiffin clear just for protection. All right, Anna?
Okay.
Don't worry, I don't have any more ND filters up here.
We're really gonna do some dynamic range testing here.
Oh yeah.
When those clouds come over, I think it's like changing something like 4 stops in a
Yeah.
matter of seconds.
How long have you been working on this documentary?
2 years now?
Anna had a climbing accident where she lost all the toes on one foot and another toe on another foot, and now she's back climbing again. That's what shows you it's like our lives in the mountains are not just sport. It's what gives us energy, what makes us feel alive. And
A lot of the early footage, I don't even remember any recollection of anyone being there filming me. It seems like 10 minutes and 10 years all at the same time.
we always like come in for like hand and rope details. They're always nice.
I was watching the last Honey Hunter. Talk about feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, we got these bee suits for that, and they're for American honeybees, but the Himalayan honeybees are the largest in the world. And they were
Oh
just
my God, so could they go right through this
They were
suit?
stinging us right through the suit.
Oh
It was
man.
also so overhanging that you couldn't touch the wall, so you're just spinning in space. We had to figure out that you had to have 2 people spinning in space. 'Cause then
Oh,
you
and you just kind of grab onto each other.
kick off your friend and kind of like spin the opposite direction.
Oh
Get
yeah.
a 5-second shot.
Oh
and then
man.
Spin back, get another shot.
It's a workout just holding a position to like have your
Yeah.
angle, because it's not like
the
you just
best
stand up.
positions are when you're like the furthest out.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we'll use stilts that push us even further out. So we're just keeping it simple for today.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
So
yeah, I want to make sure you're safe.
this is a walk in the park for you, huh?
Yeah, this isn't the most complicated setup, but it's every time you get on a rope, it feels real.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
have to treat it seriously. You hit the ground from more than 5 feet up.
So you're gonna need a couple band-aids.
You also use other little tricks. You can like have little mini anchors for your camera that are taking weight, where you can really extend it out.
After learning the ropes, I got a little bit more practice with Sam and Steve, who may not be sponsored by North Face, but maybe they'll get there one day.
Is your heart racing? That stopped.
And I'll tell you, it's hard work. Our bodies felt destroyed after that, but of course Renan had a solution for that.
So this looks like a swimming pool.
Actually, ancient hot spring water.
And then now Sam will enter it with his SpongeBob pants.
This is the only swimming trunks I own.
Now, Sony has just announced some firmware updates that they're rolling out over the course of the next year, and they address a lot of the quirks that the Burano currently has. So like it says monitoring improvements, including standardized SDI video output for monitoring across different formats, and just more frame rates and aspect ratios that can be paired with each other. So this is all getting cleaned up, but the big features definitely got to be the full frame 3.8K up to 120 frames per second. And at first I thought 3.8K, I wish it was just 4K to meet certain spec standards, but looking at the specs, it's actually 3840, which is Ultra HD, which is what a majority of us call 4K anyways. They told me that it was going to be a new, more advanced type of pixel binning than something you might get out of the binning on the A1. And this will also give us a really fast sensor readout speed while still utilizing the full sensor. So if rolling shutter is a concern, this will be a good option for that. Now, currently the Burano's readout speed is not super fast, especially when you compare it to the full-on Venice, but at the same time, far from being the slowest sensor that I've used professionally. For example, the FX9 was my workhorse camera for a little while, and to be completely honest, I did not know it had a slower readout speed until just today.
You take the camera and go like this, you're gonna see it. But I've never had an issue with rolling shutter, even in the fast-paced stuff that we're doing.
But on top of this new firmware update giving us a much faster readout speed in this pixel bin mode, it also will be nice to be able to record with smaller file sizes while still shooting raw in full frame, because it's not all the time that we need that full 8.6K.
How are you doing with hard drive space?
We're lucky in that we invested like really early in like a server and backup tape system.
LTO?
LTO, yeah.
Nice.
We have 7 200 terabyte servers. We're not worried about the data because we're used to shooting things that burn even more data.
Yeah. Now, me personally, being someone that doesn't have petabytes of high-speed data laying around, I actually really appreciate the XAVC-H, which is a professional codec, but utilizes H.265, which I'm a big fan of because of file size efficiency. And just doing some casual side-by-side tests with my A7 vlog setup, it does become apparent how much detail is in this 8.6K RAW. And here's a slightly better test where I use the FX6 on its max settings with the same exact lens. Definitely going to be harder to tell after YouTube's compression, especially if you're watching on a smaller display, but I'll just go ahead and punch in for you so you can kind of just see what this image would look like if it was blown up on a big screen. And of course, for reframing.
The 8.6K, do you ever punch in?
We punch in on the 8.6K, we stabilize on it, and it feels more future-proof. It feels robust. It's good if you're trying to denoise.
Yeah. Wow. You have your own personal climbing gym.
When you get on it, it kind of comes down. This goes forever.
So cool. And then the angle too, huh?
Yeah, it's a little overhanging. You can adjust it, make it
okay.
Really.
So beginner mode, there we go.
Same thing with that one. You can see how there's like LED lights. So it lights up and you can make your own little problems and routes. And
this is not easy. There must be certain projects where you have to be training.
Yeah, certain projects I've trained pretty hard for. You want to be as hard to kill as possible.
We want to be hard to kill.
And you want to be able to keep up with world-class athletes, really grumpy when they have to wait for you.
Why are you so slow?
Yeah. We pushed the camera in -40 the Canadian Arctic.
-40. I was going to ask Fahrenheit or Celsius, but regardless, that's crazy.
The charts merge together and it doesn't even matter because it's like...
It's just like cold. There's a lot of expeditions where you have to pack out with everything. Batteries, do you bring a bunch of charged up V-mounts or do you bring like a block?
We did carry a cinema camera to the summit of Mount Vinson for that Pepsi Where's Your Dutch show. And because it was summer in Antarctica, it hardly ever got dark and we were able to charge big batteries like this via solar on a big mountain expedition where we were carrying all of our own weight with no porters, and summited with anamorphic cinema lenses and cinema cameras. Meru, for example, the one that was at Sundance. I was editing for a while and then Bob Eisenhart finished it. Just keep writing back and be like, where's the rest of the footage? Did you already trim these or what happened? It was like, no, because we were like conserving batteries so intensely. It was like, okay, it might be a story moment. I don't know if this is really important, but I'm gonna shoot a little bit, shoot it, turn it back off. Fear that you're gonna run out of battery before the real moment happens, but you don't know when it's gonna happen.
Is the battery limitation, is that your main concern from shooting in situations like that?
I think so. Yeah, batteries and battery life on the Burano is the best I've seen so far.
Yeah, I know a lot of cinema cameras might be like 100 watt hours per hour of runtime, but it's Prius. Let's say you're on the top of Everest. What's the first thing to go bad?
The big misconception is like Everest isn't the worst environment that you can take your camera to. I think when we've been to the jungle or we've been to places that are more humid, that's when electronics really want to break. Everest isn't as cold as what we were just in with the -40 that I was talking about. In those environments, you have to always do is don't bring your camera inside your tent, like always have it sleep outside, because
take the batteries inside, keep them warm. But if you bring the cameras and the lenses inside and outside, that's when the expansion and contraction happens. You get internal condensation inside your lenses and all sorts of bad things happen. So you wrap it up in a jacket and you keep it in the vestibule or somewhere like protected, but in the same temperature that you're going to start shooting it. You put all the batteries in your sleeping bag. I've got them in my armpits, and we've taken, you know, shirts like this and we've sewn pockets for batteries, like all in the armpits. So you're climbing with like keeping everything warm, but it's nothing compared to when we were climbing the volcano or in the jungle for the Tepui expedition. Like, you'll hit these little humidity pockets, and everyone have lenses that are fogging from internal elements. You have to just have like desiccant packs and Ziplocs where you're putting things in those packets and cycling through them.
LCDs in the cold, I know they start to lag once it gets to a certain temperature. What happens at like minus 40? I mean, does the screen even work?
It worked for us, yeah. We had this screen and we had, because it was a commercial shoot, so we had Cine 7. We did have some like heat packs taped. I was like tiny bit sluggish, but yeah, it's negative 40, whatever.
Right, but it still worked. Like,
yeah,
at least you can frame up and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have a production company right now, Expedition Studios. There you do everything from documentaries to narratives to some commercials.
Yeah, a little bit of everything at this point.
That shot is incredible. That rainstorm, is that real?
Oh yeah, it's all in camera.
Wow.
Yeah, there's storms coming in and I just like GPS tracked hyperlapse mode. That's some of the Honda work we did. We've shot a lot in Utah. The dust is just incredible, the way that it interacts with the car when it's drifting. And this is Ram TRX.
You like time lapses?
Time lapses are one of my first loves. Before I even picked up a camera, I was a landscape painter. Doing a time lapse of the landscape was progression of that.
Do you like shooting commercials? I mean, it's pretty different from doc style.
It's different, and sometimes you don't have quite the soul, but the tools you get to use and what you get to learn, you're supporting a lot of people's lives with work that you're doing because it's employing a lot of people.
That drone shot,
yeah,
pretty low right there, but that was a happy accident, I assume.
Yeah, Thorne, our AD, was like, up, 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 up. Barely survived.
Were you piloting that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Shots like this, you see tents flying off. That'd be terrifying.
Created havoc because a lot of people had stashed their big climbing suits up there.
Oh no.
And they lost them. It was really bad for a lot of teams. We were up there during the storm, weighing the tents down with our own bodies.
This is on Everest.
Doc called Sherpa just showed Everest from the Sherpa perspective, and same director, Jennifer Peetham, just got her first narrative feature, and that's definitely when we're going to be utilizing the Burano in full effect, something that's going to like hold up on the big screen theatrically.
What is the most difficult part of carrying a Burano up the cliff? The weight, keeping it dry?
Not smashing it if you're really moving around and moving quickly to stay in front of a climber.
Because I found myself letting the camera swing around and hitting the rock a couple of times. I'm like, oops. Because there's a lot to think about, and managing the gear up here is a lot more important because your life kind of depends on it. What is your current favorite camera and what's your mostly used focal length?
This is the entire setup right here. But I'm serious. Like, yeah, like Burano and the Mercury anamorphics have been a go-to. Mostly is focal length, 35.
Just wide enough? Yeah. Just tight enough?
Not distorted, but still wide enough. Can shoot a portrait with it.
Charles asks, how many rocks did the Burano dodge while you held on for dear life?
It had mud all over it. Kyle licked the mud off.
That's one of the benefits of it being metal, I guess. It's got a little bit more.
What kind of metal
durability.
is it?
I forget what they said. Oh, magnesium in it.
Yes, it's like the Venice chassis. It's magnesium.
So it gives it a little bit more weight, but it gives it just like it makes it a lot stronger.
Makes it a tank.
Why in the hell were you risking your life and limb? Do you get asked that a lot?
I think you've asked me that many times on this trip. I think you could agree that we kept it safe, even though it might have looked dangerous at points.
Is there any gear you regret buying or bringing on trips?
Normally, we regret not bringing a backup of something more than something that we brought.
Getting some drone videos? Of course.
We just had the session in session.
Anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this episode. You know, when Sony Cine first asked how they can help this channel get to the next level, I told them that I would love to make more episodes about all the different aspects of filmmaking, which of course includes gear, but there's just so much more to explore. So she said, let's do it. And here we are. These types of videos definitely take longer, but I think it's worth it. Let me know if you agree with me in the comments or not. Anyways, I'll see you in the next episode where the party continues.
Hey, Gene, how are you?